Hello, I'm with you today to share my take on the new Lottie Loves Paper challenge over on the Facebook group. And this week it's squares, and I'm going to be using the really beautiful Pink Fresh Studio Happy Heart collection. So when I saw this piece of paper in the collection, I think it's called New Beginnings, my idea was to cut out the frames and use them on a layout somehow, and they were square, so they were perfect for this challenge for me. And I have gone loosely with the idea in using a square photograph and then using the frames that I'm fussy cutting out here with my scalpel blade, and included those as squares as well in the challenge. So super pretty piece of paper, and as you can see, I've cut all the pieces out there. I wasn't quite sure whether I was going to layer them all onto my page or just use some of them. Now I'm also going to concentrate on using the Celebrate You 12 by 12 piece of paper from that Happy Heart collection, and it's filled, as you can see, with all these lovely 2 by 2 squares. I think these are absolutely brilliant, these cut apart sheets, really universal and can be used for lots of things. So I decided that I would try and stick to a bit of a colour theme of blues and pinks together, the peachy colour of that frame paper. So just focusing on cutting out the pale greeny blue squares from that piece of paper there. This photograph is actually a photo of my dog Snowy, and it was taken recently in February of this year. I think it was during half term, and it was my last week where I could do as I pleased with my two daughters during the summer holidays before I started a new job. And we took the dog out for a walk local to us and went to the cafe as well, which she absolutely loves because she always gets a dog biscuit. The sun was shining. She was really happy because she knew where she was going, and as you can see by her face, was enjoying every minute of our little family outing. So that's what this layout is going to document about. And I think the face says it all, really. So I've just had a play around with those squares that I've cut out from that sheet of paper and decided that the photograph of Snowy is going to be the central focal point of my layout, and then I was going to layer those 2 by 2 squares on the top and the bottom just to balance the page out. So I've pulled out some of the ephemera now from the kit. This was the floral ephemera pack. I also had the title ephemera pack as well. So as you can see, I've pulled out some of the title words and just having a play around with some of those floral pieces. Now, because I was trying to keep my colours quite similar throughout my page, I haven't gone for the darker pieces in that ephemera kit, just the peachy coloured florals and blue florals. So I'm going to commit now to where that photograph of Snowy is going to go. So just layering it up on some sticky back kids foam. I always find it easier to use this than the little 3D foam pads that you can buy, because I can cut it to shape and it's just a lot easier for me. I find it really hard to get the backing off of all those tiny little 3D squares that you can get on your foam pads. And just distressing around the edge of that frame with the back of my scissors. So now I've got that in place, I was wondering whether I could bring it back in some of those frames and whether to keep it like peachy coloured, but actually on the reverse of that paper it's like a real lovely tealy colour, and I really liked it, and I thought that helped frame that central photograph a bit better as well, because the pale pink to me was just getting a little bit lost on that white background. So by doing that, it's just brought even more attention to the photograph in the centre there, and also ties in nicely with the colours on those 2 by 2 square cut aparts that I've placed on my page. So just having a play around with my embellishing for the page now. The main base and structure of it is done, and I bought myself the Beautiful Moments paper. It's filled with butterflies, really beautiful. So fussy cut 3 of those out to go along, and as you can see, I've just used my scalpel blade there to cut out the heart that was in the middle of that 2x2 square at the top, and I'm going to stick that back in after distressing around the edges just on some foam pad, again to add a little bit more detail and layering to my page. I've folded my butterfly slightly, just again to give a little bit more detail and layering to my page, and now I'm just having a look through some of the puffy stickers in the collection and adding a few words in that related to my feelings for the day. So joy and adore, and that little arrow there, I can't actually see what it says, but they're all super cute, and the peachy colours tied in nicely. Now I wanted to build up some of the florals on the page, which I'm going to balance on the top left and that bottom right corner of the photo frame. So I've added to the floral ephemera by just fussy cutting out a few flowers from one of the other sheets of paper in the collection, and they were like blue doodled outline with white in the middle, so they weren't going to overpower the ephemera that I've always used too much, and just sort of sit in the background and just help me build up those layers a little bit more. So just going to add some up onto that top left corner as well. And I really like how it's coming together now. It's such a beautiful, pretty collection, and the colours are just absolutely divine. I'm really pleased that I treated myself to some of this collection when I saw it. Sometimes I'm a bit late in treating myself to the newer papers that have come out, but this time I jumped straight in, and I'm really pleased I did because they're beautiful. So just adding some more foam behind some of my ephemera pieces there, just to raise them up to the same level as the frame and the photograph in the middle. Sticking down some of those butterflies there because I'm happy with the placement of everything. Now off camera I do actually add some white acrylic paint splatters and also some other paint splatters with some shimmers paint called Going Peachside, just to add a little bit more interest to the layout. And I do some journaling around the outside edge of that tealy blue frame as well in a peachy coloured glitter pen. I didn't use black because I didn't want it to overpower the layout, because the layout itself is quite delicate with all of those colours. So thank you very much for joining me today. I hope you've enjoyed this process video. Like I said, this has been Vic for the latest Lottie Loves Paper weekly challenge up on the Facebook community group. So please do head on over there and join in the fun. We love seeing all of your layouts, and these challenges are definitely making me use some of my older stash as well as this beautiful new collection too. If you've enjoyed this video, please do give it a thumbs up, leave a comment, subscribe. That I'd really appreciate it, and hopefully I will see you all again soon with another installment. Thanks then, bye.